Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. So, wanted to welcome you to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, we have a few new subscribers. Welcome here. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully you will continue to watch. Make sure you hit that subscription button and your notification button, because I do premieres on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you don't want to miss a thing, baby. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the Great Reset a little bit today. I'm not going to talk about Great Reset as a whole, but I'm going to talk about these people are trying to come for you, okay? And I'm going to give you a couple examples of ways that the government and that entities are not playing and are really going to try to get every single dollar, every single thing from you. And to be honest, make it hurt, make you suffer, because if you suffer, this is part of the whole plan, right? If you are in a suffering situation where times are tough, you need help, you know, it's much easier to talk you into something when you are suffering and you are at your lowest and you need help and you cannot get out of a situation yourself. It's much easier to then get you on board with their plans, with their policies, with the things that they want to do, right? Because if you are suffering, it's much easier for you to say, yes, what do I need to do for you to help me and for me? You know, and it's easier for them to get on board. So let's talk about this. I just wanted to talk you through some examples of some stuff that's going on out there. One, we can all see the inflation of gas, of food, of different products. Something as simple as projects. Wood has been through the roof. Our septic system, we asked several people in the neighborhood, it went up $10,000 just from septics that were done last year, okay? It's no joke, right? And that's not really a surprise. Everybody is watching that happening, and that's going to continue to happen. You have folks that have huge, outrageous electric bills, right? I'm getting reports almost daily of $800, $900, over $1,000 in monthly bills. These are folks that are turning off their ACs. Bills are still high. These are people that are not doing anything different than last year, and the bill is tripled, if not quadrupled. Okay. Tell me what you do. I cannot even imagine getting $1,000 electric bill. There's 2 times in the year, in the month, 2 months in our winter time where our bill goes to almost $600. Back when we first bought the home, right? We talked about what's going on with electric. We called the electric company. We really tried to get down to the bottom of it. And it really came down to, historically, this home that we live in for 2 months of the year, the bill goes extremely high. And it has to do with all types of things. The house being old, it not being, you know, closed in as much, gaps, all this stuff, right? But I cannot imagine, you know, not doing anything different and then getting a huge electric bill. But what I would tell you, some small things to do is you need to investigate that. You need to be calling the electric company. You need to be looking up the bill and really understanding the wattage and how things work. You need to be getting a tester. You should be looking at that box and turning off breakers and seeing exactly where that increase of money is going, right? For us, just the last few months, an example is we were doing laundry, right? We do a lot of laundry. Well, the septic, you know, we've had that issue, and we were going out in town for a very long time, several months. We were going out in town, not using the washer and dryer, and our bill dropped significantly. So washing clothes is a huge piece of that. So an option, you know, for me, I'm trying to figure out how to get that bill down, right? No matter what I have to do. And although washing clothes out in town is quite expensive, it still might be cheaper than doing it in your home right now, at least for now, right? Another thing, people have plug-in ACs, plug-in things, swamp coolers. A lot of times that stuff might be drawing way more power than it would be to just turn on an AC. Now, mind you, some people have that stuff because they don't have an AC. I understand that. I get that. But take a look at stuff. Take a look at products and see how much it's drawing, because products vary, and there could be a fan that is pulling like crazy, and it's the one fan that's doing it, and you just need to replace that fan with something else. Also, having vents and stuff that look like they're off, but they're really on, right? And it takes you turning off the breaker for it to really stop the power. Now, listen, listen, I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong, but what I'm saying is they are coming for us, and they're going to come for us in any way they can and try to make you suffer in any way you can. And for simple things like the electricity going up to $1,000 a month, that's enough to break people. Okay. That's enough for people are having to decide, how do I juggle food and electricity? And everything else is in the wayside, right? Because they cannot afford to do it, okay? And you have folks that are already working full time. You know, a lot of people are just nasty and be like, well, just get another job, get a job. Listen, some of these folks are already working tons and tons of hours, and it's hard, okay? I honestly cannot imagine $1,000 electric, but I have subscribers who send me their bills and show me, right, that they have high bills, right, and asking me for help and stuff, okay? You've got to take a look at that stuff and basically take this into your own hands, because they're coming for you, okay? Let me give you some more examples of them coming for us, money-wise, things you have to watch out for. This happened to me this last year. Open the door. Somebody said, hey, Natasha Miller, man had an envelope. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have no fear, right? Sure, I'm Natasha. Hands me an envelope. You know, you've been served. I don't think he said that. That's like in the movies. But he handed it. He was like, here's some legal documents, right? I take the legal documents. Again, no fear, right? So I go, I look, and I'm like, what is this, right? It's I'm being taken to court, civil court, $1,700, some company, and I'm like, what is this? You know, Google it. It is a debt collector. The person that's actually taking me to court is a debt collector. Their lawyer's information is all over the documents. So I start Googling stuff. Come to find out, you guys, I had a old collections from 13. This is after I do all the research and figuring out going down the rabbit hole of what this is, right? Because now it's serious. Somebody's trying to take me to court, right? And there's timelines, there's stuff you have to do, right? So I'm like, what is going on? We go down the rabbit hole. It is a collections that is 13 years old, okay? And it is the debt collector of like a debt collector who is now trying to take me to civil court for this money. And I'm like, are you kidding me, right? 13 years old, is $1,700 now over time, right? And they're going to take me to court, right? And they're going to make me pay the $1,700. They want all their lawyer fees for every day. It's accruing. This other debt collector that's an attorney that's attached to them, that's working for them, is going to charge me like $80-something a day every day this goes on. So even though I could, as a citizen, go through the court systems with their timelines, I'm accruing money, right? And I'm like, so this is a debt collector of a debt collector who's taking me to court for a debt that's 13 years old. So mind you, at the end of the day, I don't have time for these games, right? Do not come for me. Could I have fought that? Could I have gotten a lawyer that would cost me more money? All this stuff, all these shenanigans, right? And I was like, I'm not here for it. So called them up, paid the money. Had some choice words for them. I said, you know, you're doing me wrong, but that's fine. Had some choice words, but at the end of the day, you can't be concerned. Paid the $1,700, which was up to like 18 something already for some fees. Over, done with, dismissed, done, right? But my point is, never have I ever seen debt collectors take people to court, to civil court, for low number, over a decade old collection stuff. But desperate times, right? Companies are desperate and they're going to start doing desperate measures to get stuff. So I say all that because it's important. People ask me all the time opinions about different stuff. People ask me all the time, should they even pay off their debt? Yes, you should pay off your debt, okay? Being self-sufficient is not owing anybody any money. If all you have is a car payment and your house payment, or all you have is blessings, a house payment, just start paying it down. Pay it down, pay it down, pay it down. Now, a lot of you I know that have been watching this and know exactly what the Great Reset is. You know that you will have nothing and you will be happy. And a lot of people are like, man, I'm going to pay off a house that they're just going to turn around and try to take from me one day. Listen, baby, we'll get to that when we get to that. But in the time being, this is your home. Pay it off, okay? Pay your debts off. Pay your cars off. Pay your stuff off. And, you know, you got old stuff. Just pay it off, right? You know, hubby, he had some choice words when it happened. He's like, oh, well, looks like they got you, right? And I was mad because it was so old, right? Like, how dare you, it's so old. And he was on the more of a, well, you got caught, you owed the money, And yeah, it's been a decade and they got you, you know? So my point is, do not be responsible to anybody, right? Do not owe people money. Do not have any debts out, because they're going to do what they got to do to come for you. Let me give you another example that happened in my family. These are things that have happened to us in the years past. Hubby, a couple years ago, we're both in the military, right? Our taxes are a little different, right? He was a California citizen, right? A whole back and forth about owing taxes or not, right? Went back and forth. He was probably on the phone for the year with state of California, probably 20, 30 times. I've heard this man on the phone with the IRS, right? And they owed him money, right? And he would call and they'd be like, yes, you're right, sir. We owe you money. And then he would get a notice saying he owed money. So then he would call and say, look, what's going on? You owe me money. Oh, yes, sir. You're right. We're sorry about that. Give some excuse of why he's still getting letters. But yes, they owe him money. You know, they're going to pay him. This went on and on for like over a year. Finally, one day, he goes to his bank to use it to buy something, whatever. His card's not working. He calls the bank. Federal lien from the IRS. Cannot use. Bank is frozen. Can't use it. His little tiny citizen of a bank account, right, is frozen. Can't get no money out of it. Can't pay the IRS even if you wanted to. Okay. Total mess. So he calls. He's like, what is going on? You know, like, this is ridiculous. It's back and forth. You guys owe me money. I've called several times. Is there not notes in the system that says I've had conversations with you guys like over 50 times saying you owe me money? Like, I don't understand how this bank freeze could happen. Long story short, they lift it. And the man has his money because, again, he calls and they're like, oh, yeah, sir, we're so sorry, sir. You're right. And they unfreeze it. But do you see all these shenanigans, all the drama that they imagine somebody who cannot handle that stuff having to deal with, you know, and then out of their, you know, anxiety or whatever is just like, well, just screw it. I'm just going to pay it to get them off my back. You know what I'm saying? And that's not right. Okay. Taxes in general, taking forever to get taxes. It took me 5 months to get my taxes this year. This stuff is not going to get any better. They are coming for you. They're going to make it miserable. And so you have to get self-sufficient as much as possible. You know, I know a lot of people say, you know, self-sufficiency, they think farmer, they think homestead, they think like that type of person. You have to have some land and trees. No, baby, just average people. You live a self-sufficient life. That means stacking stuff, having extra food, having the waters, having the meds, learning a skill, learning how to do stuff, learning how to deal with no power. Your power bill is $1,000. What am I doing to turn that off then? Because baby, I'm not paying no $1,000 electric bill, right? So what do I have to do for my family to continue to live? And maybe that's acting like we don't have power, right? Maybe that's us taking the solar generators out and, you know, hooking up fans or heaters or whatever to that power source. Maybe that's doing laundry at the laundromat, because even though that is expensive as hell, it is still cheaper than you doing laundry at your house. Maybe that's turning off certain breakers because for some reason, certain outlets are drawing like crazy, okay? This stuff is not to be ignored, right? But you've got to start living or thinking about living in a different way that is going to bring you peace, bring you self-sufficient, so that as these things happen moving forward, you can deal with this. You know, we mentioned this before, you know, 87,000 IRS agents that were hired. Now, at first I was like, you know, on face, you're like, well, thank God, maybe people can get their taxes on time with all these people. Armed IRS agents. Why do IRS agents need to be armed? Well, if they're going into homes, if they're going in demanding stuff, turning off accounts, going to people's homes, trying to collect, if they're going to be posturing themselves in a more aggressive way to get their money, because God knows our government doesn't know anything about money, how to spend money, how to make it, nothing, right? So I guess this will help. We'll squeeze the American people, you know, more and more and more. Never have I ever heard of somebody's account being turned off for owing a little bit of money. Typically, you know, you call them up, you set up a payment plan, you pay that. If that payment plan is still happening, baby, at the end of the year when it's time to do taxes again, we all know what happens. They'll take the remaining money, right? And that's going to be deducted from anything you owe, okay? Period, right? But that's not going to be the case. That's not the case. Okay. They're coming for you. So you've got to do your part. Pay stuff off. Don't, get yourself out of debt. Do not owe anybody any money, and start building a self-sufficient life. Start building it where as these things happen, you can move forward and have more control in your life. You give yourself options. Okay. Second thing too, the whole bank situation, you better not be just counting on that bank account and all your eggs are in that basket. It is important that you have cash in your home somewhere else. I'm not telling you where to keep it. I'm telling you outside of the bank though is where it needs to be. Get that money out of the bank. I'm not saying all of it, but you have to have options, right? That thing happens to you, the IRS, or, they have that much control that they can just stop something. You have to have options, okay? You don't want to keep the cash, fine, get some money orders, whatever. But let me tell you, if something crashes, banks crash, whatever crashes, the money orders ain't going to do you no good, okay? You've got to have that cash. Figure out how to keep it safe, but do not be trusting these banks and counting on these banks. Do not trust these entities, the IRS, debt collectors, debt stuff, your electric bill going up. It's hard enough with food and gas and everything else going up. We've got to tip the scales in our side and stand up and say, we're not going to be miserable. We're not going to just succeed to whatever it is that you want us to do and pour us. And now we're that group of people that goes into, okay, you're right. I'll be happy and I'll own nothing. I'm okay with it. At least I have something over my head. I have, AC, I can stay cool, or I have heat, or my family has food to eat. And it will be very easy for those families to just say, you're right, you got me. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to sign? What do you want me to do? What kind of citizen do you want me to be? What do you want me to believe in? And they'll just move forward with that because they have no options. They've given themselves and their families no options. And that's a horrible place to be. So start doing stuff for yourself. And do it now, because this type of stuff, these type of examples, they're not going to stop. And things worked out for us, but other people might not be that lucky, right? Imagine if we didn't have the ability to just pay that old bill off on the spot. I would have continued to accrue money. And even let's say I had to wait 2 weeks for another payday. That would have been thousands more added to it, just having to wait till another payday. Okay. So give yourself options. Okay. Figure things out and start learning stuff yourself. These high electric bills, you need to be looking at it, really investigating what is happening, what is going on, and then turn things off, make changes that make sense for you and your family, because nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's coming to save the day. Nobody's going to do this. Nobody cares that you have an $800, $900, $1,000 electric bill. They don't, nobody cares about that stuff. So, nobody cares if your bank account gets shut off from the IRS, as long as their bank account is open and they have access to their money, right? So just get ready, because this is going to be a fight. This is going to be a war. This is not going away. If anything, this is going to continue to get worse, and you've got to prepare your family for it. So I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are going crazy in the chat today. Speaking your mind, letting me know your guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Take care.